with her, but that's okay. There's another little side match going on. Just the other day, ladies, Elizabeth Warren said that Bernie Sanders said to her privately that he doesn't think a woman could be president.
Do you see me doing side eye?
Tina, how does it make you feel?
So there's two things going on here. The first thing is that when CNN said they broke the story, they said they had 4 anonymous sources. They didn't name any of these 4 anonymous sources. I am 100% positive that these are people within her campaign, and they leaked it to CNN.
Yep.
As a sidebar, I want to mention that the reporter that leaked this was with us at KDAM, and she had one question in the spin room, and the question was to Mayor Petey, was whether or not he had seen the new CNN poll and that he was polling in the lead at Iowa. It had just broken 30 seconds ago. So to me, this is just blatantly CNN trying to rile up more business. This is about them getting people involved in a conflict so that they come and they watch the debate, because these debates really aren't about informing the public.
Right.
They're about getting higher ratings, selling ad space, etc. So that's the first thing that I'm kind of angry about. The second thing I'm angry about is, like, Elizabeth Warren has now finally crossed the Rubicon.
Yeah.
What she did.
I love that word.
What she did is absolutely unforgivable. She started a political smear that she knows is disingenuous at best.
At best.
She did it against somebody that has repeatedly not gone to the mat against her, has used very soft gloves, has not been even remotely like combatant. So for her to do this, I think is just absolutely disgusting. And Bernie has a record of not being a sexist. I mean, he's been talking about women's rights for decades now, and we have the receipts.
Since Elizabeth Warren has been a Republican, he's been talking about women's rights.
100%.
Isn't she still a Republican?
She's,
Wait a
no.
second. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Right, 100%. Here's the other thing that really gets me going, though. This is a woman that has an absolute track record of being exaggerating things or being an absolute liar about stuff. So the thing that bothers me the most, and I've kind of remained silent on some of this stuff myself because I didn't want to harm our progressive movement, even though I had fair. But here's the thing. This is somebody that when she first worked at the University of Texas, she checked the I'm white box.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden in 1996, she's now a Native American.
Right.
This is somebody that did that not because they had some sort of family fable about being Native American. This is somebody that was trying to further her career, and she was sort of colonizing this idea of being a person of color to do it. And it's so egregious and so wrong, and it's absolutely racist.
And that's why it's hypocritical for her to talk about, women's issues and people of color when her campaign is actually verifiably, data-wise, the most white and the most affluent in comparison to Bernie. It's 100%. Not as affluent as Pete Buttigieg's or Biden's, but she definitely weaponized that as she gaslit the whole thing. I mean, none of us, as a Bernie volunteer, and I know this, you are never instructed to go and attack other candidates.
Right,
that is
that's the
your
first thing
number
that
one
happened.
thing is you're instructed to be very, very policy driven as far as Bernie's policies, not even mention other candidates. So that was a flat out lie. And then to double down on it instead of apologizing, double down on it and use unverified sources. Exactly. Essentially call him a sexist, using the same talking points as Hillary Clinton, saying we need to stop being the divisive, the fractionalism of 2016 is what she mentioned. Yeah. She said Bernie trashed her. She used the words trashed. Those are mighty, mighty words to use.
They're false. It's
if
false.
there was only a candidate in the race with Bernie Sanders that would come out and defend him or speak up for him.
Tulsi did.
Somebody. Who?
Tulsi did.
Hashtag. One more time.
Tulsi did.
Hashtag Tulsi did.
Tulsi did.
She had a really good tweet where she said that she had also met with Senator Sanders and he was nothing but encouraging and respectful. So, let me get back to her record, though, because I'm not done. I'm not done. Look, here's the other thing. Then she went on to say that she was fired as a teacher.
Absolutely.
Because she was pregnant. But the reality is she was only a teacher for 8 months and she wasn't credentialed properly to be teaching what she was teaching.
Right.
So this is not true.
Yeah.
She went on to say that her kids all attended public school when she had sent one of them to private school. Point being, we can go down the list of things that she has exaggerated or lied about.
Yes.
And
green bombs.
Misunderstood.
Green bombs.
Green bombs.
Yeah, so,
Nicolas Maduro's a dictator. I will not go on Fox News.
Her backtracking off Medicare for all and pushing a public option. point is, she has a history of backpedaling. She has a history of twisting the words around. She has a history of doing this. This isn't the first time. It's not like we're canceling her based on one thing. This is a multitude
I
of
sort
things.
of am at this point. I'm kind of done.
Well, no. We are canceling
totally
her.
done
But what
now.
I'm saying is, it's not the first strike. We have given her multiple, more than others.
Look, I think the worst part of this though is very hurtful because I do believe that Bernie had a trust in her.
Me too.
I think the campaign specifically didn't want to get aggressive and attacky with her for a lot of reasons. And this to me was very backstabby, very in the trenches, unfair sort of politicking that I think is unforgivable.
So there's this theory that Obama is behind this, that Obama is pushing, remember the Stop Sanders movement, that Obama is pushing her because she is going to try to work with Joe Biden.
Right.
It's now seeing that Joe Biden is the number one against Bernie, that Obama is pushing her because she didn't start out like this. Recall she didn't start out like this. She met with Bernie. They had agreed not to attack each other. For her to do this, now that Bernie is surging in the polls in Iowa, Nevada, New Hampshire, it really brings a lot to discuss as far as, remember, the Stop Sanders movement that a lot of these Democrats were involved in.
But let's be honest, too, Fiorella. You said it last night that she unified the progressives in one great swoop, and we were waiting for a moment like this because she's never performed at this level. I mean, she's a senator, but to start getting in there and dancing, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who she ran against in her Senate race is one thing, but to be under this scrutiny, she just buckled. She buckled under pressure, and she listened to her campaign. And you know what? Listen, this is one stop. I feel we got rid of this whole Warren disciple kind of mentality that they are the real ally to Bernie Sanders. No, they are not.
No,
some have
not.
been saying that she is the most dangerous. That element is gone. But what about the element with the people closest to Bernie, fam, when it comes to his campaign? When do we get rid of these people like the Matt Dusses and Fayez?
Well, you're not going to get rid of them at this point, I think. It's going to be very difficult. And I think what we need to do is be the ones pushing forward, pushing out the truth, pushing out areas where the campaign won't be able to attack Bernie Sanders, where they just can't.
I want to bring up something on Elizabeth Warren that happened today too. Sorry, folks.
Go ahead. No, it's
pulled
okay.
away.
I just want you to be heard, my love.
I know. So George Little, he's a CIA spokesperson. He's now a contract. Are you familiar? So he endorsed Elizabeth Warren today. I don't know if you folks saw this, but I pulled this tweet up because I wanted to read it. It
Go
says,
ahead.
I was Pentagon's press secretary and CIA spokesman. I'm proud to support Elizabeth Warren, who has the strength and judgment to make the tough decisions on foreign policy, understands how America should lead in the world, and will back our troops, veterans, and intelligence officers. This, to me, is like, okay, so now you've got the military-industrial complex behind you.
Right.
Is this why you voted yes on Trump's massively bloated defense budget?
Yep, twice.
So to me, this is another thing that happened in the last 2 days that
is very telling.
You know, and let me tell you something. Fiorella spotted Elizabeth Warren early, amongst other people, too. But one of the things is when you notice from the get-go that she took that money that she took, that's the number one rule, right? It's who you take your money from. You can't break rule number one.
Well, it wasn't even that. She made it look like exactly she was not taking any money.
But
while
Emma
she knew.
said that Bernie did the same thing.
Who's
yeah,
Emma?
except Emma Vigilant from TYT. Okay, so Bernie's money obviously did not come from the same people.
No, it
that
didn't.
Elizabeth
That's
Warren's
a
money
completely
came
egregious
from.
point. If she said that, she's
So,
absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
so
she
that's
did the
not-
same tactic that he used his money from the Senate run to bring it on over. But
Right.
that's beside the point
that's
where that money
besides-
came from.
Boom. That's besides the point. It doesn't matter that the money was transferred. It matters that the original donor.
Exactly.
who
And that's
they
where Pete
were.
Buttigieg was able to say, you got the money from the same people that
Yes,
you're claiming
that's
me I got
correct.
from in my wine cave.
Exactly.
And he's
Let
not,
me ask
and
you
he's
ladies
not
a
wrong
question.
on
I
that.
got a
wrong,
big
which is
question here.
sad.
Yeah.
Emma says that they need to squash this. Is this something that could be squashed
No.
between the campaign?
No,
How
nor
could
should
you
No
it.
way.
her?
You guys said it's the line to death. We're over
No,
it.
she's crossed the Rubicon. This should not
I
be
agree.
squashed. This, to me, is a betrayal that is unforgivable in every capacity. I'm sorry.
Yeah, how can you squash? I mean, again, this isn't the first time she's done this. This isn't the first time she's let Bernie down, the progressive movement.
I
There's
agree.
multiple instances. I think this is more than a squash. If I was Bernie, I wouldn't necessarily be unable to work with her. I would work with her, but I wouldn't trust her. And that's the difference here. You cannot trust somebody
cannot
that has
trust her.
stabbed you in the back when you have been an ally and a friend. Like Tina said, Bernie and the campaign had made it their mission to not attack any candidates, but specifically
Not
Elizabeth
attack
Warren.
So done. Dunsky.
100%.
You son of a bitch. I'm in. Out. Let's go. What else from tonight could we expect? I mean, we got this little highlight here with these two. I mean, we might not have wanted to see it happen, but it did happen.
I brought my Queen Pumala pussy hat.
She's got the pea hat.
I got the pea.
What kind of?
Anybody else? What about, is anybody done? Cory Booker just dropped out. So now the only woman of color on stage is Elizabeth Warren.
I was you just stole my line.
I know, because I know you saw that meme. It was hysterical. I think Johnny sent it to me on Instagram. I was laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
But Andrew Yang tonight, what has he got to do tonight to really get himself? Because we got the Iowa caucuses right around the corner, and I have him hanging on by a thread. I think Tom Steyer definitely did move himself up in the last one.
He did.
And obviously he did because he's doing better in the polls than Yang is. But what about Yang tonight, ladies? What can he do to get himself in the race in Iowa? Is there anything he can do, or is it just too little too late?
He's just the one-track UBI guy. Look, I support the idea of UBI, but you got to have broader policies than that. And I think he sort of backed himself into that corner.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, UBI, like I've said it many times here, UBI I support, but under the system, it's just not going to work for the people. It's going to work for the landlords. It's going to work for everybody else. There are no protections there.
Yeah, the problem is he wants to replace certain programs, not Social Security, what have you, just other ones. But I think the point of UBI is to correct income inequality.
But it doesn't.
It does if it's done properly. It can.
Yeah, but here's the thing, it does. And I saw this the other day on Max Kaiser's new show, and I never saw this angle. And the gentleman that was on talked about the rent thing that you talked about. But here's the thing, the difference between UBI from us and a rich person. A rich person gets that money because they're entitled to it too as well.
It's universal. Okay? It's necessary for the buy-in. In the same way Social Security is universal.
But here's what they do now. A rich person invests it. We got to use it to pay our bills that are right there, the rent that will be raised, the groceries. But a person that has money that doesn't, they get to invest more money and build their wealth.
But
so in essence, it might not help the income inequality gap better than a universal jobs program.
It's also taxed, so not necessarily. It's going to be taxed at a higher rate for the wealthier folks. So
that's true, but all that money gets to be invested. They can invest
but that's already happening anyway, Craig. Let's be honest.
No, but I'm saying the extra $1,000, there's that preface where people have that extra money. Now they can invest. I'm just saying that it's just another angle to look at, that it doesn't by itself help the inequality 100%. Yeah, there have to be other things.
There has to be other mechanisms, and I agree with you on that.
And what about Tom Steyer? Because you asked Tom Steyer a great question about, remember at the KDM? And he was like, yeah, I agree with it, and you should unpack that. But Tom Steyer's a guy who's grown a little on me. He's my number 3, like I said. He's not going to be my number 1, but his answers last time in the debate when we were all sitting here. And, wait, should we stop for Tom Perez? No, okay,
we should
good.
Not stop for Tom Perez.
Yeah, our values unite us. But he was a guy who doesn't give the greatest answers when it comes to foreign policy, but he gives good answers. Remember last time he said China was a friend of me. Yeah. What do you think about him tonight? Can he do something and make it a little noise to keep the momentum going?
I have a sort of double feeling on this. I am the kind of person that believes every billionaire is a policy failure. I think that is absolutely true across the board.
Same.
Having said that, can he be a guy that supports the right policies and the right things in the world to fix that? Yes, that's also true. I don't think these things are mutually exclusive. Mm-hmm. I do think I would take Tom Steyer over the rest of the field, including Elizabeth Warren at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Not except Tulsi. I would take minus.
He's my number 3.
He's my number 3. I agree. So Bernie is obviously I'm a Bernie person. Everybody knows this.
Passes outnumbered.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fiorella, do you have anything about Tom Steyer real quick?
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I just think he's a billionaire. That is always going to be something I hold against him, but he could be a class traitor. He has shown
he is a class traitor.
Listened to our concerns, and he has been more genuine compared to the other candidates.
He is more authentic.
As well as he said he supported Medicare for all. Unlike Andrew Yang, whose like policy is just awful.
Look, put your money where your mouth is. We know that Tom Steyer's got a lot of money. We know how his family made that money in the back in the days when it came to energy and whatnot. But then again, this guy has put down $10 million to combat climate change.
Yeah.
He's done a lot for orphans and kids in foster homes in his backyard in California. We had a guy running for candidate over here talked about Tom Steyer.
Right.
So he has done some positive things. Now, my argument has been what Fiorella said from the get-go. I love parroting my partner. But why not get somebody that you're going to support, a young person, an activist, somebody who's maybe not ready and stuff, but you got to push them out, push somebody else. You need to have those successors because whether you have the best message or not, you're going to be gone off this planet soon, and somebody has to really, like Eric Swalwell said, carry the torch.
Oh, God.
Not that guy. But here's the thing. I don't want any more billionaires in office.
I agree.
A billionaire simply doesn't have the ability to understand what the rest of the country is living like. The plutonomy. When I say the plutonomy, I'm referencing again that Citigroup memo. So these are the wealthy folks that have basically laughed their way to the bank because they've been buying our Congress. They've been extracting wealth from the country. They have been consolidating their wealth with power on the top. And they've been doing it this entire time, basically saying to themselves, until the 99% wakes up, we can keep doing this. They're asleep. We can convince them that one day if they pull up those bootstraps, they'll be able to be one of us. And I think the country's finally realizing that's malarkey.
That's malarkey. Oh my God, everything's going off in the thing. It was like Stewie Griffin and freaking Brian in that one episode. Hey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard, we have a GoFundMe out there. We need your help. We've gotten a good start out of the gate, but we got to keep it going. We want to go and cover these primaries. Iowa is first on the target, and we got to get out there. So we need your help. We're going to post a link to the video. If you're not on the Rockfin, Johnny, is everything good on the Rockfin right now?
Yeah.
All right. So go over into the Rockfin. We're going to be going there soon. There it is. Oh, somebody gave us a little donation right there.
Oh, sweet.
John, you want to put up the list of names real quick? Can you click on there? I'll read them real quick. And ladies, just give me 1 second. I want to thank the people on this here.
No, thank the people. God bless them.
Thank the people. We love the people.
There is a situation going on in Iowa. Somebody tweeted at me.
All right, ready? I'm going to go from the top.
Go ahead.
Here we go, from the top. Mike McElroy, $100 last time. Allison Irvin, thank you so much, Allison Irvin. Jack and Pagao. Janine Roan, we love you, Janine. We're gonna have
my girl Janine Roan.
Yeah, we're going to have Ruben Major on the show, and I got some pickles.
Hey, Ruben Major.
I made you some pickles, Janine. Glory Jones is there. It's Steve Wilburn with multiple donations. Thank you, Steve. We love you, Uncle Steve. Karen Daly, Mark Raposa, Diana Schoenbeck. We love you, Diane. Tony Clay, Andrea Trust, Deborah Mays, Anonymous. Whoever this Anonymous guy is awesome. Thank you, guys.
I
love this Anonymous guy. I love your white mask, too. Andrew Herman, Todd Jones. Cynthia Price, Anonymous again, this guy. I love this guy, Anonymous. Gregory Marsh, Howard Gold with a big one, the biggest one yet. Thank you, Howard. We love you.
So much.
Damian Lopez Gaston, Chris Blaylock, Anonymous again. Anna Mars, A. Mars, Anonymous. Jack Chevalier, Anonymous. Eric Ucker, Sarah Williams, we love you, Sarah. Cornelius Felix, we love you too. Brett Roberts, Rich McGee, Kim Mullins, James Boyajan, Steve Wilburn again, Caitlin Easter, Gilbert Galinas, Sheila Monsieur, Allison Irvin, a second one, Jackie Pagao, a second one, Tony Massey, a second one, Charles Barrett, Ray Dion, Anonymous, this guy's got 7, Anthony Allen, Elizabeth Scott, and our main man, our first one out the gate, Todd Southern. We love you very much, everybody.
Guys.
Get over to our Rockfin. Help us out.
Thank you so much, guys. I just wanted to read this tweet. I don't know very much about it, but I just want to put it on. Suddenly, the DNC is now in full control of the Iowa caucus ballots with no paper trails.
Well, they're always in charge.
Yeah, but they're I guess the caucus isn't going to have a paper trail. And I heard about this months ago about it being more like a virtual thing. So I honestly don't know how that's going to work
out.
Caucus.
They're using some sort of phone app or smartphone app. I saw that today. I don't trust that. I think it's a big mistake.
Because we don't have protections on our civil liberties, so they can do what they want.
These are
as long as our civil liberties are under attack and they have keys to the kingdom on the other side to do what they want, these are the things. When we talk about election integrity and civil liberties, they go hand in hand. Yeah, they are going to screw us again, ladies and gentlemen, and I implore you, get your phones, get your battery chargers, go out to your polling place. If you see something, say something, film it.
Support our channels, obviously, because we're all going to try to be in these areas.
That's why we're going.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Everywhere we can be.
You're going too?
Milwaukee?
Oh, Milwaukee. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Iowa?
You ain't coming to have some corn with us in Iowa?
Yeah, maybe. I'm definitely going to Nevada caucus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we'll be in Nevada.
We'll definitely be in Nevada. We'll definitely be in California. We'll definitely be in Iowa. Where else we want to go? That depends on your help, but I think you'll see the work we do. Especially we got the secret weapon, Johnny Sue, who makes everything look beautiful. If you haven't gone on to our Rockfin, please do. Look at all this stuff he's done. Johnny, you want to play the video real quick? Do we have a quick second or no? Johnny's going to pull up this video, guys. Watch it. Go on over. If you got $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever you got, help us out. Get us. We're going to be the boots on the ground. And we're going to collaborate. There's also some people going out there. Some people from Action from Assange are going to be out there. Dak Rowlow, he's going to be out there. We're just hearing news from everybody's getting their butt out to Iowa.
Yeah, so many Bernie supporters are going there to canvass right now. Yeah. Also, New Hampshire, our friend Todd Jones, who donated, he's over there canvassing for Bernie. It's awesome. I mean, who else do you have that like travels? Maybe Tulsi has some supporters that travel for her because I've seen it. But I really don't see very many other candidates with this whole like push to get everybody out there, like this whole like, hey, help me out. I'm going to try to go canvass for Bernie for free to Iowa. So many people have been doing those things. And we really appreciate you guys who help the progressive movement.
Yeah.
Because
Bernie's going to win.
This is it, you guys.
Iowa.
But here's the thing.
Bernie's going to take the whole thing. I'm saying it now.
Scared, you guys. Bernie's winning. He's being now smeared by everybody because he is winning.
That's right.
There was that Stop Sanders movement. I just feel like he has the numbers to win. I'm not worried about that. He has the people behind him.
Yeah.
I'm worried about when we go to the voting block. Just a reminder for all of you in California, you have to register before February 17th in order to get a regular ballot. If you register after the 17th,
you're saying as a Democrat. If you're NPP, you have to ask for a crossover ballot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you register, whatever you do, if you register after the fact,
we have an semi-open primary.
Semi.
But if you register after February 17th,
that.
you're going to get a provisional ballot. By the way, it's in the thing. It's in the if you register after the 17th, you will get a provisional ballot, which means it's likely not going to be counted until after the fact, which is no bueno.
So did you folks see the Newsweek poll that came out today where Bernie Sanders doubled his lead over Trump in their poll?
No.
Yeah, he's going to look. The only thing that will stop Bernie from winning is the plutonomy, but I don't think they're going to be able to. And we knew they were going to punch at us. The plutonomy isn't going to go down without a fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I still think the one thing that's really going to kill us is, once again, the lack of our election integrity. They can try. Is that what plutonomy means?
Yeah.
Plutonomy is so there was this leaked Citigroup memo that came out, I want to say in 2005.
Yeah.
So everybody that is listening, if you haven't read this, go find it, read it, have your eyes open. But this is a term coined by Citigroup to describe the 1%. So this was a combination of their wealthiest investment bank clients and their in combination with their bot politicians.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were quite literally controlling everything in the country and where the money went, et cetera, all the way down the line. So it was a very eye-opening leaked memo, and that's exactly what they are. They are. It's like you could say plutocracy, but I think plutonomy. I think this coined term is so specific to what has happened in the United States of America.
Yeah. Let's go to the video. We're going to do it, and we'll get back for these debates because I know you're all just dying.
CNN hosting these debates after the shenanigans. Aren't we excited?
Is Don Lemon one of the freaking donkeys?
But look, they did this to drum up more views. The point of these debates, again, isn't necessarily to inform the public. It's for CNN, whoever else is hosting them, to sell ads.
Yep.
This is about money. So it's unfortunate that this is where we're at in the country. These debates absolutely should be in the public domain.
Oh, yeah.
They once were. Mm-hmm. But this is why people need to keep getting angrier, and they need to get out on the streets and do something about it. This is not right.
They should be in the public domain. That's why we're bringing them here. Rockfin, check out the video. Watch. Help us out. Independent media.
We want to cover key primaries in as many states as possible. But in order to do this, travel, take off days of work, go to events, and buy new equipment to get us top-notch work, we've decided to start a GoFundMe.
Our goal is to raise at least $10,000 for the first half of the primary season through March. Afterwards, we will evaluate what needs to be done for the last half of the primary and possibly into the election. This will include airfare, travel, equipment, accommodations, and other traveling expenses.
We live in Los Angeles and the rent is too damn high, but we want to be able to cover as much as possible. Anything happens during the voting time, we will be there to break the news and bring you live updates. We don't just sit on the couch. We follow the action.
And as we've said, this election is so important, if not the most important election of our time, and we can't afford to miss it or not be there in case any shenanigans go down.
So fans, we humbly ask for your help in any way support you can give it. Donate, help us cover these events, and talk to the people and politicians. You already know that we ask the right questions. For those who donate, we'll put your name down in the credits and show a big thank you to you. We'll post the link down below.
Thanks again for your support. It truly means the world to us.
And it is always appreciated on the couch. And please, like, share, and subscribe from Pasta
and Fee
and Johnny Sue on those 1s and 2s.
Convo out.
Help us out.
increases in voter turnout have been found in states that require photo IDs to vote.
With some people still in line to cast their ballots.
Many Brooklyn residents who thought they were registered showed up to vote, only to find their names were not on the list.
We need to count all provisional ballots. And say, shut the fucking election down. We deny people the right to vote.
Next speaker.
Damn it, can I access the Rockfin link or?
I don't know if you can. It's on. You're on the Rockfin link. So, here we are. Thank you. Welcome back to the Convo Couch.
I'm the only one paying attention, apparently. I'm like
special guest Tina Desiree Desire.
She's
Burke.
special. All right.
Tina Dyer Burke, Desire Burke. That's what the whatchamacallit says. The what's the name of it? Siri calls you Desire.
Oh, Siri, that's right. That
well,
was
if you
kind
spell
of
it wrong,
hilarious.
it calls you Desire. It's not
no,
much.
well, to be fair, she called San Francisco San Franciscois or some
San
weirdness.
Franciscois?
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
That is funny.
Well, I mean, last debate I gotta say wasn't as bad as the ones
thought
before
it was
that.
gonna be
It really kicked in
bad.
with the fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but you know what? That's what a primary is for. Going after people on policies where
what they
they
should
took
be
their
doing.
money. This is needed. I don't want to see people just go at each other's throat. But I hate these other people like these, and I'm going to say their names. These R.L. Millers that say sign this plaque or that you're not going to attack each other. No,
Well,
that's what a primary
so-
is for. It's healthy to get it out there and just.
I gotta say, the work she
have-
has done
oh.
is great, but yeah, go on.
Oh no, I didn't mean to. Well, I just wanted to ask you on that note. I agree with you that that's what a primary is for, and they should be discussing policy. But I don't think that's what's actually happening here. I think, like we just saw in real time the last 2 days with Elizabeth and Bernie, that they're, CNN said, I'm breaking this story. They did that again, like I said earlier, to drum up business. I think another example was when Jack Taper
Jake
asked,
Tapper?
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Not Jake Tapper, Jack Taper.
Yeah, that's my.
That
Sounds
is
like a serial
so
killer.
genius,
Jack
Tina.
Taper.
You're not getting that by me. I love that's great.
I sort of have my nicknames for folks, and sometimes I forget that I
Jack
should use
Taper.
them. But point being, when he asked about Medicare for all, and he used the word, instead of saying replace your insurance with the government plan, he said take away. Like they tend to. My point is, they tend to frame these questions and the dialogue around them in a certain way to sort of create more drama and more arguments.
Right.
And none of these serve the public. None of these arguments are better about informing the public more on the topics or actually getting the candidate's opinion. It's designed to create catfights.
Right, and it's like the
Do you know what I'm saying?
CNN correspondents today exploiting the fact that the Bernie bro myth yet again, that Bernie Sanders supporters are mean and blah blah blah. But it's like these are women that are highly paid by CNN. It's like they're faux feminists. They're faux feminists.
Yeah.
They're these feminists that wear this and think
agree.
that's enough. They're not intersectional. They're not intersectional feminists, and they have this brand of feminism that is so easy to talk about. But when it comes to actually walking the walk and changing economic policies that will help impoverished women, as a woman, I mean, I don't even have I have college debt. I don't have insurance. Bernie's policies will help me much more than, say, Elizabeth Warren's half-hearted policies, especially Biden's or Buttigieg. So it's this sort of hypocrisy that's all they got on Bernie Sanders. That's all they can do.
I want to just
Go
really
ahead.
quick just squash this myth that Elizabeth Warren is far away from Buttigieg and Biden. She really is not in a lot of situations.
she's not.
She's part of the machine. So
I agree.
Go ahead, Tina. I just want.
Well,
to
what I was going to say, just to jump onto this Bernie bro thing, because I'm not having it anymore. I wasn't having it 4 years ago. I'm not having it
You are
now.
on fire tonight. Not having it.
Not having
You
it.
didn't even have the jalapenos yet.
I know, right? But this is pure cynicism to me. I don't even think these folks really view themselves as feminists or any of that. I think they are playing a political game and they know it, and they think this is how they're going to win it. I don't think they give a shit about women of color. I don't think they give a shit about women, period.
Not really.
Not really. Because if they did, they would have a problem with Elizabeth Warren parading herself as a Native American.
Hey.
For
Only
all
woman
of those
of color
years
left in the race.
Yeah, do not attack a woman of color. How dare you?
Johnny,
white
you got
women.
that meme?
What about Fred Gutenberg, who was retweeting all of this? Because I know I'm going to bring this up because I know we're going to start soon. But Tina got trolled by Fred Gutenberg.
I did.
Gutenberg is this guy that is very anti-gun, but of course he is propping up the
very
idea
anti-Bernie.
that Bernie is not good enough on that issue. And, you know, we know where Bernie stands on the Brady bill. We know he has a D rating from the NRA, but still, you know, it's not about the gun issue for him. This guy is from a very elitist town in the South Florida where the school was. And in that, you know, in that area, as Pasa very well knows, is very, very wealthy. And a lot of the criticisms during that time, and I'm not dismissing, of course, the issues we have with gun control here, etc. But they were propped up to a degree because these were rich kids.
100%. Let me bring this up because you brought up the fact he trolled me. But I don't believe I'm so angry about this. I don't believe you can really be for those things if you are attacking the guy with the D minus rating while propping up Democrats just because they're a real Democrat if they have an A rating. And so my point to Fred initially was like, you're basically coming after Bernie saying is he even a real Democrat? Does it matter when the real Democrats have A ratings from the NRA and you're trying to work through gun laws? And I was really polite with this guy. I was actually trying to have a very serious conversation with him. He wasn't going to have it. But this is what really derailed me is a Republican friend of his came into the thread. He's like, yeah, but Fred, you know you'll vote for the Democratic nominee if it's Bernie. And he actually responded incorrect. So then I said to Fred, so are you saying you're going to vote for Donald Trump? And he's like, he took a while to respond. He finally responded and said, he goes, it doesn't matter. Bernie's not going to be the nominee. So this was an actual conversation. And what I said to him, I said, well, look, Fred, he is going to be the nominee. He's going to be our next president. And I welcome you to Big Us because I still didn't want to get dirty. Exactly. In the meantime, his followers were trolling me and calling me a vile bitch, the C word, you name it. And then he starts this whole nother thread on his page about how horrible the Bernie bros are for attacking him.
It's gaslighting.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not having this. So I finally came on the thread. I said, no, Fred, I'm not having this. I was polite to you. Here's some screenshots of your followers and what they're saying to me. Stop. Just stop.
It's not good enough.
It's not acceptable.
Well,
I'm sick of this.
I was going to say, go ahead.
Before we go on, I just want to bring up Iran. What are your questions and comments about that? Because we're going to ask
just say, let's talk about items that we know will not be talked about tonight that are so important.
Anything to do with the military-industrial complex.
Well, I think they'll talk a little bit about Iran, but Fiorella, I was just going to say they're going to go itsy-bitsy spider on it. They're not going to talk about it a lot. They don't want these people to expose
They're going to frame it around how bad Donald Trump is instead of all the 188 Democrats that voted to get rid of the NDAA.
They're just enabling him.
They won't talk
How could they talk about how bad Donald Trump is when they enable him at every turn of the screw?
They won't talk about poverty either. That's something that the Democrats always avoid. Talking about mass poverty around the country. Like you said, foreign policy, the issues that really matter. And I have a better chance of getting pregnant.
Bernie's coming
Jack
on the
Tapper.
stage.
We're going to go in a second with Jack Tapper. Asking a question about Julian Assange.
Jack Taper.
I love that you're calling him that now.
Well, Jack Taper. Okay, Jack Taper or any of these guys will not ask a question about Julian Assange. They still will not talk about this. That is something
which is egregious as fuck.
It's disgusting and everything. You know what I'm
Julian
saying?
Assange is a martyr for a cause that's.
And Shah had mentioned it today. He might have a complex past, but that doesn't excuse the fact of what is being done to him is a violation of freedom of speech.
It absolutely is. We should all be defending Julian Assange.
Exactly.
Did Andrew Yang make this debate?
Yeah, I
believe yes.
Did he? I think
He's the sixth one, right?
Yeah.
It should be Joe, Elizabeth,
Steyer.
Bernie, Pete.
Klobuchar.
Yang did not make it, huh?
No, I thought he had. Didn't. My bad. Okay.
Wow, that's how little we've been paying attention to these debates.
I sort of
because
tuned
they're
out
so.
After the last,
I thought he did
Fugazi.
it, but then people were saying he did, and I'm like, I don't know.
They're so fugazi.
They
but
are.
Listen, the dark horse, Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer, a little bit of a dark horse.
Amy Klobuchar, okay?
Why is she still on that stage? I don't understand
Did you see the New York Times? Amy Klobuchar still has, it was a meme, but it was.
Here's the thing, too. Tom Steyer will have a good insight to way business is done to combat climate change, to maybe work in a Bernie Sanders campaign on climate change because he understands businesses and how they operate.
Maybe.
That is something that I'm hoping that he can do. You know what? I walked out of the room when they were talking about Tom Steyer once before because I don't want to hear about another billionaire. But the guy has grown on me to show. He showed me that he does care. He's genuine. He might be a billionaire. I don't want him to be the president.
He's not an awful human being, though.
Exactly.
I hear what you're saying.
When you did that question with you and him, he was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I know, and I was like
"Come on."
I was like unequivocally, because I didn't expect this answer at all.
Why is Amy Klobuchar still on stage?
I don't know. I'd love to know.
Why is Amy Klobuchar still here?
Because she likes corn.
How is Amy Klobuchar on that stage and not see.
Wait,
This is the Democratic Party
wait.
giving her a layup because she's close to Iowa. She's Minnesota, Iowa land, so that's why they're doing it.
It'll just take a second.
Yeah, no
Question
shit.
1. What the
Thank you.
Oh, do we have Tulsi sing what the
What
fuck? Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that's good.
That is like,
That's good.
What the fuck?
Anyway, all right.
Way.
What the fuck
Yeah.
is going on?
Badass.
That is pretty badass. That needed to happen.
Dude,
This is my favorite thing ever.
It's my favorite thing now too. We're gonna be. I'm gonna have to put this on when Elizabeth Warren does something bad.
I know, right?
I'm
ready?
just gonna put this hat on.
Ladies
I'm
and gentlemen,
ready.
if you are having problems
You're
with
gonna
the,
swap
with
my
the
hat.
chat on Rockfin, just refresh your page till it comes up. Taylor Hudak is there. Frederick Murphy, Glory Jones,
Sup, Taylor?
Reefer Revolution, Pidgeman, my
Sup,
man,
Glory?
David
Reefer?
Hardenbrook, the People's Elbow. Lucy
I love that.
Prada.
Wait, the People's Elbow?
Yeah, that's John
Genius.
Cena. Don't you know that?
No, that's
Morgan
genius.
Carey? No, it's The Rock. The Rock gives the People's Elbow. Aquabot. Cornelius Felix. There he is again. Rocky Bellinger.
Yay.
Aaron Baccarin. David Hardenook. I said your name twice. I think that's everybody. Guys, if you're on our YouTube, get on over to the Rockfin. Use it. And if you guys want to go on to Twitter tonight, because I see a lot of those, Pasta has now had a meeting with big oil companies and is now driving a BMW. So if you want to play that game tonight, I love it. Please do it. Do it on our Twitter. Hook us up. Get us some likes, some loves. Convo Couch
Pasta's
Twitter.
driving a BMW.
Convo Couch Patreon. Convo Couch GoFundMe. Help us out. You know, we hate to ask for money, but this is important, ladies and gentlemen. And we want to just go cover this for you guys because you can't count on these donkeys on CNN.
No, they're in it.
Hello, fams.
Donkeys.
Do we have a donkey?
Robin
we have
Gibson.
a dolphin. Come on.
That's sort of a double entendre there.
There it
There you
is.
go.
Ladies and
my
gentlemen
favorite.
on Rockfin, you love that dolphin. I know you.
So what do you think, since we seem to have a few more minutes here, what do you think Obama's actually going to pull to thwart Sanders?
I think he's going to support Warren.
I don't think that's good enough. I think there's going to be something more. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I mean, I think him throwing us a support is enough.
So, oh, you're hilarious down there. So
But I'm thinking about Obama.
Okay.
So hang on. Here's the thing. Do you sort of think that perhaps when they calculated, look, you also have to imagine the political consultants were involved in this decision
Absolutely.
to leak this to CNN, and
Absolutely.
I actually think that they really believed that this whole Elizabeth Warren thing was going to play out, and people were going to get angry at Bernie and leave his movement and believe her.
Desperation.
Yeah, it is desperation.
Desperation.
It is desperation, but I do think that these consultants actually thought that this would be the case, and now they're backtracking because it blew up in their face.
Yeah. Well, it's too
So,
late. Too little, too late.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw the piece that came out, Ruby Kramer, before we came on air, but she was basically saying that in her DMs, that Elizabeth Warren was instructing her top supporters to back away from attacking Bernie and his supporters, which tells me they're getting the clear idea.
Yeah.
Well, what about the refund Warren thing,
that's what
where
I'm
people
saying.
were asking for the money back on Act Blue?
They like almost shut down the whole thing because
heard.
they had too many requests.
Okay, guys,
All
we're
right.
getting about 45 seconds away.
Okay,
if you're
let's
on the
do
YouTube,
this.
get on over to the Rockfin, ROKFIN. Like, share, subscribe. There's a chat over there. Watch it. You need to get on over there anyways. We're going over here. We got about 30 seconds left. Yeah, Johnny will get you over. It's that thing we gave you the other day. So, we are going to have our signs during the commercial breaks. We're going to do it normal. We got Tina Desiree Burke in the house. Fiorella Isabel, Johnny Pasta, both of us.
Johnny
Pasta, Johnny and Pasta. We got 13 seconds. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's on like a Donkey Kong.
This is Empire. These folks are all for
They're
Empire.
neocons.
The only person on that stage that doesn't condone our Empire is Bernie Sanders,
That's it.
quite frankly.
That's it. And even Tom Steyer.
It's even in the way they frame it.
When it came to foreign
Well,
policy.
he said he would not sit down with Kim Jong-un without preconditions. Listen, let me tell you something. You sit down immediately.
With anybody.
You sit down immediately.
Yeah, even
and
the guy's
then you
a
bring
piece
in
of shit.
conditions.
Yeah, no,
if you
Kim,
put preconditions,
yeah,
you never
Kim's
get to the fucking table.
Kim's a jackass. I get it. But here's the thing. Also, notice the way they frame this. I will not allow.
Yeah.
They're talking about sovereign nations right now.
We're back. Yeah, Iran. It's in our best interest that they don't. It's our national security for them not to get a missile. Get the hell out of here.
Let's turn to
Okay,
health.
this is what I have
the
for
top
Elizabeth
issue for
Warren right
Iowa
now.
Democrats. Donald Trump is trying.
Derek McCrae has joined the party. Pleb. Norman, he is Stormin. And Carrie Mark, Robin Gibson, and Vijay is there. We didn't mention your names last time. Over and under, we talked about that nobody would mention poverty. The most unlikely guy to mention it was Pete Booch. Yeah.
Wine Cave Pete.
Wine Cave Pete.
I can't believe he brought up the Poor People's Campaign with a straight face.
Because that's Reverend Barber. You know
good for Reverend Barber. He should talk to everybody that comes to him. But don't tell me Pete's not pandering.
Seriously.
No, totally pandering. We know Wine Cave Pete is. And how about how many times that Elizabeth Warren has said, the mamas and the papas, we got to take care of the mamas.
That's a great band, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
It's a great band, the mamas and the papas.
With California dreaming, and that's what she's dreaming because she's going to get nothing over here. That part of the debate, guys, was boring. I'm sorry for stepping
It was boring.
toes.
I just got pissed at Amy Klobuchar because she's talking about, being practical and being a progressive in the same vein. And it's like she takes money from these insurance companies. So those two don't belong in the same sentence when you take that big insurance money, Amy Klobuchar.
The entire segment on Medicare for all medical insurance was grotesque. Other than Bernie Sanders, I just wanted to slap them all. They were all caping for the industry. Pete Buttigieg, I did it again.
Yeah.
His response was unbelievable. He might as well have been an industry lobbyist on that stage talking about. And who are all these people that love their health insurance, Mayor Pete? No one does. We are all getting reamed. I mean. The idea that somebody needs to have a health insurance policy where you have a deductible of $5,000 a year on top of a copay of $150, you can't even afford to see a doctor if you have this kind of insurance.
No, you can't.
Interesting point here on the chat. It's something else that you guys will like, ladies. Only Bernie is on record for paying for every K through 12 teacher at least $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
Once again, that part of the segment they were trying to echo Bernie Sanders. We got to raise the revenues. We got to raise the salaries. But nobody's on record for going $60,000 a year over other than Bernie Sanders. Thank you, Stormin Norman. That's the new nickname.
And I love how they went back to that stupid debate about how rich kids shouldn't be covered by your free college. It's like rich kids don't go to public school. They just don't.
There might be a handful that go into a UC Berkeley if they get in there, but the vast majority of these kids are going to private colleges like Harvard.
Exactly.
And beyond that, the point being, universal programs need universal buy-in, period, end of story, if they're going to work.
Otherwise,
we
they
don't
won't.
limit their use of roads. We don't limit their use of going to the library. We don't limit their use of a million things that we have because these things exist in the common good, and it's necessary to have universal buy-in if they're going to flourish. The minute you start
somebody privatize
parsing, it becomes a problem. So it's the idea that we shouldn't educate our kids because a few rich kids might take advantage of the program is fucking ridiculous. And let me also bring up, as a Californian, we used to have free public university. The UC system was free. The Cal State system was free. Under Pat Brown's master plan, these universities were tuition free.
Absolutely.
It wasn't until the neoliberals came into the state and started privatizing them that we got to the place we're at now, where the state now finances maybe 8% of the UC budget.
Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, we had that free thing in Florida, too, as well, when I was, but I'm a little bit older and what's not. There's a lot of people on this thread over here in Rockfin, thank you very much. They're not too crazy about Tom Steyer. They think he's a little bit freaking them out. You know, they think he's not in a position to say anything, being he's a billionaire. Some people said, I wish he would pay for some of this stuff and put his money where. Why doesn't he just spend his money on the improvements he speaks of? But he has spent that money.
He spent some money.
I'm going to say this again. Every billionaire is a policy failure. They shouldn't even exist. So I understand everything that these folks are saying, even though I might agree with some of the points that Steyer is making. I understand why they feel that way. I don't want any more billionaires in office, and I'm fucking tired of them trying to buy elections because they've already bought our government.
He's also pretty much playing nice with Elizabeth Warren as well.
He's playing
and
nice
you can
with
tell,
everybody.
But you can tell he's kind of like, okay, Warren is right, Bernie is right. Like he's not really going out on
that's what bothers
hardcore.
me. Yeah, he's not going. I didn't like his foreign policy answers today.
Policy,
We're not good. We'll talk about that when I see him face to face. We have another interview, but I mean, he's been pretty decent. We're back, guys. We'll see you at the break.
We're live in Des Moines, Iowa. Tomorrow, the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, will send articles of impeachment against President presidential debate live from Des Moines, Iowa. Stay right here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the break. So that wasn't as nauseous, I don't think, as
not as nauseous
as the second segment.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad though. We had some moments. Nothing that I can really remember towards the end over there. Elizabeth Warren, now who refused to go on Fox, wants to reach out
to
Republicans and independents.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she is an ex-Republican.
Well, that's what they were saying on the chat. Somebody said, you were a Republican, Liz.
Yeah.
That was one. Joe again. Oh, my God. Let me look at some of the notes. Guys, thank you for joining Rockfin, by the way. Go on over.
I wanted to bring up something, but...
Can Biden form a cohesive statement?
I was asking for a translator.
How is this guy number one in the polls? Like, I listened to him rambling on, and
I need a translator. I don't know.
By the way, Johnny has given Amy Klobuchar a new nickname, Miss Pragmatism. She goes, you could be progressive and
practical progressivism, you guys. That's a thing now. I wanted to bring up Pete Buttigieg because he was painting himself as a veteran there because, of course, Tulsi.
A wartime veteran when he's going to say this to Donald Trump.
The guy sat behind a computer screen working for intelligence agencies the whole time he was serving our country. Do you really think he knows the first thing about being an actual on the ground, on the field veteran? No, that's why he's a neocon.
But that's not even the worst thing he said. The worst thing he said was his response to the questions about lacking any support from Black Americans.
Oh, yeah, that was...
This is a guy that faked all of these endorsements, 4 months ago, from the Black community, from various organizations.
So many endorsements, dude.
And they all came out and said, we never endorsed this. Why are you saying we endorsed your plan? Why didn't the moderator bring that up? Because I think that is a real scandal here. Forget this Bernie is a sexist bullshit thing. This is a real scandal.
Right.
CIAP. Breaking
If Bernie
news.
was in his position, oh my God.
By the way, Bernie really nailed it right there in the middle of that one point.
Yeah, Bernie's doing great.
He did good. Breaking news. Pasta works his winters on a whaling ship for a company in Japan. Breaking news. I don't know. That was on the thread.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That was super random. I have no idea what that means.
Random.
That's fun because they're putting stuff in the chat. I'm reading everybody who joined the Rockfin. Nina Turner and Tina Desiree Burke. She go over to her Rockfin as well. What's it called?
It's my name.
Tina Berg.
Tina Desiree Berg. No, my Rockfin's under my name.
Oh, okay.
But where was I in my point on the...
Well,
and then he brought up the police situation. I mean, the whole thing is so scandalous.
With the transparency,
and he was trying to make up this whole thing about all the support that he has that he doesn't have. Well, the Black people that support me are the best people. Like, what is he...
It's almost as bad as Biden saying, my friend Obama, my best friend Obama, 5 billion times over.
Yeah,
I
thought that was pretty appalling. I thought that was appalling. Yeah. Am I the only one that thought that was beyond appalling?
And how his issues with the Black community, of course, and like his completely ignoring to go after the police officer. Yeah, the chief of police.
When Swalwell called him out.
In South Bend. Yeah, that was the one thing Swalwell was right about. Eric was right about that. That was the one thing.
That was the one thing. I mean,
I'm really looking for highlights of these freaking debates. This debate is not as good as the last one.
No,
no. Well, Elizabeth Warren has gone full wine mom now.
Well, let's talk about that. Elizabeth Warren sneaking in the little Russiagate shit.
I need to wear my.
Wait a second.
If y'all don't know, I have a parody account called Queen Pumala. Queen Puma, Los Angeles, Queen Pumala.
Oh, by the way, Elizabeth Warren tried to sneak in a little Russiagate little thing.
Oh, yeah.
UK gate Russiagate thing. So let's not forget about that.
Icing on the cake, Liz. Way to completely cement yourself as a neoliberal because...
And they all really sucked on impeachment, too, as well.
Yeah,
when they had that impeachment part. If they... Listen, today's answer, and once again... I'm not for impeachment. I don't know if you're still the same thing. I think it should. The voters should decide.
For impeachment.
I'm for impeachment under the right things, not under what's happening now.
What they're impeaching him on now. Yeah. Pretty much what was said today.
Yeah.
Shahid Buttar, everything that was really could stick, the corruption, the emoluments was all thrown out. They didn't even go after him. Why? Because the Democrats themselves are guilty of it. That's why I'm sick and tired
I agree with you. They are guilty.
All these people on this stage sit there and go, "Oh, we want to call Donald Trump out."
But then they vote for his military budget.
Yes, they vote for the military budget, and they don't want to call their own party out.
Welcome back to CNN's Democratic presidential debate live from Des Moines, Iowa. Time now for closing statement.
It's obvious to me that she's not telling the truth.
And I think we've talked about this before. I'm actually upset because I know Bernie considered her a friend.
Yeah.
And it really
it's a betrayal.
and he's such a kind person that even now and even then he wasn't rude to her in the way she was to him.
Yeah, he needs to go after her, and he's not going after her.
And that's the thing, like
that's not his nature. I
it's
understand
not
what
his
you're saying.
nature, but
That's
come
not-
on.
yeah.
A lot of people are like, come on, Bernie. Like, there's a limit. We all have a limit. We all have a limit. She's crossed that limit.
I'm also pretty disgusted with CNN. I'm going to bring this up one
Yeah.
more time because
Yeah.
they did what they did in order to get higher ratings, to get more ad sales. This isn't about informing the electorate.
Right.
But what really irks me is that mid-range when they asked them both about it, Bernie made really clear what had happened, and the moderator more or less ignored what he said and said, Elizabeth, how do you feel about the fact that Bernie said this to you? Because you know they're going to clip that right there. They're not going to include Bernie. They're going to clip that into a clip, and it's going to go. They're going to push it out there tomorrow as the news.
Yeah.
But and it's just I'm so disgusted by this because it's not fair to the American population. They're not getting exposure to veracity, things that matter about policy. And God damn it, if I am so pissed at Warren for participating in that, why calling herself. She tripled down.
Yeah. It makes me think, too, though, well, it's more than just the money for the revenue.
Wait, I can't say all that with my pussy hat on. That was me being
you did it. You did
Whoops.
it. But here's the thing. Listen, here's the thing. It's more than just the money for the ads. It's more than just the clickbait and the finances. The mainstream media is part of the establishment. It's also about control and power. It's all connected. And, you know what I'm saying? The way they were framing these questions tonight, the way it was like they were all scripted to make themselves look like everybody got a script except Bernie. Somebody said that on the chat, and it was so true. It's about retaining power and control along with the finances.
But it's almost like it's going to backfire, Pasta, because I think Americans can see through that. The reason Bernie is so popular is because he is genuine and authentic.
Right.
Because he's not scripted. Because he's when you ask him a question, he actually will tell you what you think.
Yeah.
Or
and
what he
he's
thinks,
saying. Yeah, he's not like pandering to voters.
Let's see what it looks like again. You ladies take a look. You tell
100%.
me. Fiorella, you said it didn't look good first.
Yeah, play it again.
Tina, take a look.
And good evening. I'm Anderson Cooper live from the Democratic debate in Des Moines, Iowa. This was it. The last time Americans will hear the Democratic candidates all on a stage together, hearing them debate before the first votes are cast. 20 days.
Right there.
Caucuses in 20 days. 6 candidates on stage. Laser
Yes.
Johnny, can you go back a second? I thought she did not shake his hand.
No.
Did he put his hand out and he didn't shake it?
No, he's pushing her way.
Go back though when he
he
goes.
literally goes
He's
like
no,
this.
yeah, I don't want to talk to you.
Go back a little bit more.
Yeah, he's shunning her, and rightfully he should.
Now
At
watch
least it
this,
appears that
Johnny.
way to me.
Again, he's not publicly going to be nasty to her.
He puts his hand out though. Watch this.
But he's going to shun her in real life.
Right here, hands out. She didn't shake his hand.
No.
He put it down. Wow.
Yeah.
Hard to say, but it looks
is.
like it looks like he's like fed up. It looks
She
like
didn't
he's.
shake his hand.
I feel
She
like
didn't
this
shake
is
his
I'm done
hand.
with you.
They
after
went
this.
from giving each other a hug to not even a handshake.
Wow.
What
she
did
refused
is-
the handshake. And then he would look like he had it. Who knows?
She is gaslighting. This is gaslighting. This is like taking his words, twisting them, and making herself the victim. And using the, quote, Me Too movement, using the feminist card, the women card, to go once again repeat the same thing that Hillary Clinton tried to take him down on.
What's really crazy about this is the Washington Post is the one publication that actually had the
They
most
were like, no.
authentic story about this, which is kind of
just
surprising
like,
to me.
wait a minute, what?
And I have to also mention Matt Taibbi had a great tweet when this first happened. He said there were only 2 people in the room that night, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Who are these 4 anonymous sources that CNN was attributing the story to begin with?
Yeah.
And I think it's obvious to me that this is an exaggeration, if not an outright lie. It's one thing for me to say to somebody who asked me, like, do you think it's going to be a problem being a woman running in this race against Trump, saying, he's going to attack you for being a woman. That is not the same thing as saying I don't want a woman or a woman can't win president. Right. Those are 2 distinctly different things. And for her to atone the second thing onto the first is
She's
bullshit.
cherry picking.
Now she is horse trading politics right now.
Yeah.
She is doing a political smear. She's doing it because she thinks it's going to benefit her, but I think it's going to
the
backfire.
worst. This is the worst move that she could have done.
I think she just blew up her campaign.
She blew up her entire
She sacrificed
campaign.
herself. She's in Bernie's camp.
Nobody is, I mean, I don't want to say
Which
nobody.
is why I'm wearing a pussy hat. She went full wine
The
mom.
majority of non-pussy people, the majority of Bernie supporters or people who even had her as their second are now
they're
saying
fed
they're
up.
not going to vote for her.
That's exactly right. And here's the thing that she should have been more self-aware in
She
is the
has
fact
terrible
that
political instincts.
Clearly, but the vast majority of Warren supporters are Bernie people. Like her pool of voters stems from that same progressive movement.
Really? I disagree. I think the
You don't
majority
think
of
so?
her supporters were proven to be ex-Hillary supporters, right?
I think that's
on the
true.
data.
I think it's morphed into that, but not originally.
I think originally there was some of the Bernie supporters going there. I agree.
In 2015,
originally.
when he asked her to
No,
run.
no,
you're talking
even
about.
in the beginning when she was going for Medicare for all and all of that.
I'm going back. Yeah, so I'm saying
Yeah.
her roots are in this sort of economic populace where I'm fighting against the 1%, where I'm saying the income inequality in the country is severe, where I'm going to take on Wall Street banks,
Right.
where I'm going to go after credit card companies and install more.
Yeah.
But
I'm
she's-
saying all of that stuff, her apparent roots after she left the Republican Party.
But it
came
was
to
all more
Jesus.
about curtailing crony capitalism, not really raging
I
against the
agree.
machine like you
I
know what I'm
agree.
saying. Like
I
Bernie
agree.
Sanders, like okay, we have to if it's too big to exist to fail, it's too big to
Yeah,
exist.
she emphasized she was a capitalist and believed in
The whole
markets,
time.
et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera.
I
She
think,
wanted to curtail the banks and whatnot.
100%. So
Yeah.
I do think she's like when she said a capitalist to her bones. I think she does mean that. And Bernie Sanders definitely a democratic socialist. So
And
they
the
have
problem
two
with
different
billionaires, too.
viewpoints
Yeah.
of what the economy should
Yeah.
look like. I think that's true. But I think for a long time, I think the American public was not quite aware of what those distinct differences were yet. So there was a time when Warren's economic populist arguments sounded very progressive. If you didn't know what democratic socialism, I mean, think about this for a second. 5 years ago, if you were saying I'm a socialist, you were going to get banned, shunned, and
Well, yeah, and even now, but it's not as bad.
It's not as bad, and it's changed quite a
Yeah.
bit. We can actually have the discussion on Marxian economic systems now that we couldn't have 5 years ago.
That's true.
So I'm saying there's been a fundamental shift in the Overton window on what we can discuss in this arena, and I think it's distinctly benefited Bernie Sanders, and it's what's made him, it's what's propelled him forward into this position.
It's also part of it's why, because he's genuine though too. It's not just
100%.
he doesn't necessarily lead with the label socialist. They brought up like
they did that scary
socialist question again.
Yeah, they had their let's
he
make sure
handled
that
it
we
right.
let America know that
He
he's
knows
still
how
a
to handle it.
socialist.
He's never been asked before, guys. Of
But
course
that
he's been asked.
reaffirms the mentality that you have to take a Tulsi Gabbard on as your running mate or in your cabinet or that
somebody that can
alliance
get those
to get
votes.
those other votes because Bernie Sanders
Whatever,
will be
dude.
distant for them.
And again, I'm going to
But-
give Tulsi props this evening because she did come out and tweet today that she had met with Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
And once again, Bernie had been nothing but polite, cordial, and
Of
respectful.
course.
So
Once
it just-
again,
so
somebody stood
it
up
gets
for
to
Bernie
his credibility because if he met with Liz and said a woman can't be president,
He
how
never
did he
said
meet
it.
with
He never said
right?
it.
I'm
He never-
right,
I mean-
exactly. But if that were even true, if we're pretending that were true, how would he meet with Gabbard and not say the same thing? She could have capitalized and said, "Oh yeah, Bernie Sanders said this." She wouldn't do that.
That's a tough thing to believe. And here's the thing: the other thing that's happening on this is really bothering me is some of these sort of wine mom still withering Pumalas are out there trying to turn this into like this believe women kind of thing, and I'm like, do not insult victims of sexual harassment and rape by trying to
make
conflate
something out of
this.
nothing.
Yes.
Because this is a political smear.
Yes, this is.
This is not even remotely the same thing.
I was waiting for that.
It's shameful for them.
Just
to do
waiting
this.
for them in the bushes, for them to use that believe woman in a situation like this, because you know they're always going to do it, and there's nuance to that, and they totally just use it and weaponize
But
it.
it's why
Yeah.
they weaponize it, and it's why I don't believe these Clinton folks when they say they're feminists.
Well, they're
If you
not.
are truly a feminist, you don't defend your sexually harassing husband while calling the other women bimbo explosions. This is not what true feminists do.
True.
And both
then
Warren
turn
and
around
Hillary
say,
are guilty
"Believe
of that.
women." Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They're full of shit.
I got some super chat contributions from Golly G. Willikers at 420. He leaves. It's a little hint. Thank you, Golly G. Whitakers. It is always appreciated on the couch.
Oh, God.
My crops lost 2/3 value. Thanks, Trump. We also have a super chat contribution from Elijah Friedman. WDF, or WTF? What the fuck? Warren
What
didn't
the
back
fuck?
him up. Disgusting. It was disgusting.
Guys, who won the debate? I mean,
Bernie Sanders.
It was quite a boring debate.
But Bernie Sanders handled all of that very well.
He did, and he had every opportunity though to go after Liz, and she was so rude, and it was maddening to me. It was so maddening to me, and he didn't do it, and he just completely stood his ground. Policy.
I might have even said, I might have been somebody that even said, like Bernie did in 2015, Warren should run for president.
Yeah, a lot of us wanted her to run.
Yeah, now I don't even recognize who this person is.
No.
I have zero support of her. Zero.
Yeah. The impeachment part was what we thought it would be. Once again, kind of honing on that. I can't believe that thing's going to even go to the Senate with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
This horse and pony show that the Democrats are putting on. And that's the problem with a lot of it. Listen, let me tell you something about the problem about Tom Steyer. Like, Tom Steyer has been performing like we said. He's not awful. He knows about some things. He put his money where his mouth is when it comes to his activism. But the situation is these Democrats on this stage, because one's not there, refuse to hold their own party accountable.
Yep.
It makes them look so
They
hypocritical.
never do. Possibly,
And
but
it's
they
disgusting.
never do.
But when do you
Half
think
of
an outside guy like Steyer might take a shot?
Yeah, no, I got you there.
Little jab or
I
something.
mean, like, the entire conversation about Iran was just one more example of that.
Yeah.
Here you had a bunch of Democrats.
There was
Special
one
Forces
anti-war
Pete.
candidate, and that was Bernie Sanders.
The only one. I mean, literally the only one. These folks
that
all
stage.
gave Trump a blank check when they passed his bloated defense bill. What
Absolutely.
did they fucking think
Yes.
he was going to do with this?
Yes,
But they won't talk about
that's
that.
the fugaziness of the impeachment. They're going to impeach him, and then they give him his bill. You know what I'm saying? And also the global warming.
I'm going to be saying Fugazi a lot after this.
Well, it is Fugazi, and you know who else is Fugazi? Elizabeth
Does that
Warren.
mean fucked up?
Elizabeth.
Am I allowed to?
I think Elizabeth Warren lost this debate, by the way.
She did.
I
She did.
think she lost this debate more than any of them. And the reason I think that is because she purposely went after Bernie Sanders, purposely attacked
doubled
on her
down.
left.
Yes.
Attacked.
Yeah.
That's you don't do that. You don't do that.
Isn't it quite obvious that the woman is not a climate change hero at all? You talk about the green bombs is another way to try to, it's Fugazi language for talking around, fake language for trying to talk around like you're going to be for the climate when you want to make our bombs green. And once again, she is okay with the trade deal, even has no talk about climate change. And that's where Tom and Bernie said, no, we shouldn't advance any trade bill that doesn't address climate change. But Elizabeth Warren, who supports Richard Cordray, she says yes. She supports Richard Cordray, who was a pro-fracking governor, and Dennis Kucinich, who was supported by Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
Once again, it should be of no surprise that this woman is not for the environment, and she's once again
She's
been
gonna
exposed.
take the money when in the general too, so you know she's not serious.
And I was kind of disturbed by the fact that she said, she started that entire speech by saying, the problem is Trump started these trade wars. Trump did this, Trump did that. But I'm going to vote on Trump's trade deal.
Right. She literally contradicted herself because
it's
Bernie
a total
and her
contradiction.
completely. That was one of the in the beginning of last week. That's where
trade
they
deal is going to
shifted.
push us back 5 years because it's not so easy to start over and renegotiate one of these pacts once they're in place. It's better to wait until we have a Democrat in office like a Bernie Sanders or somebody else. Well, no, let me be clear. Like Bernie Sanders, only Bernie Sanders.
Let me be very clear.
They can actually negotiate a good trade agreement right from the get-go that includes labor laws, that includes climate change provisions and all these things.
Because if it
to
passes,
pass that shit right now,
it's going to be hard.
It's going to be impossible
they
to
won't
undo.
address it. They won't address it as quickly next time
Elizabeth
around because
Warren
they'll think
is
they've
dead
done
wrong on
something.
this. She's
Yes,
so
she is
wrong.
completely
Dead
wrong.
wrong.
I
But
agree.
that's the centrist argument. Like, we got to be practical. We got to pass what we can.
No, we
pragmatism.
don't. Being practical, being pragmatic, being all of these
Those
things
are
has
bullshit
put
terms.
us
I'm
where
so
we
done.
are now, so far down the rabbit
No,
hole.
Amy Klobuchar said
Wake
you could
up.
be progressive and practical.
I gotta say though, Amy Klobuchar.
Why is Amy still on the stage?
To the centrist moms and all those uninformed politicians, her and Buttigieg are gonna sound good.
God,
and that's
Mayor
the problem.
Pete, I can't stand him either.
Robin Gibson says impeachment works for Trump has already raised his popularity by 6 points. Over on the Rockfin.
I've seen multiple polls suggesting that as well. I mean, at this point, I think we should focus on the elections and getting him out of office.
Look, I don't think it matters whether he's impeached or not. It matters on who our candidate is that comes through the primary. I tell you right now, if it's not Bernie Sanders, we're screwed. And the new Newsweek poll that came out this morning had him doubling his lead over Trump. So He's absolutely the only one that's going to be able to carry this election, in my opinion.
You're going to love this super chat contribution from Glory Jones. That is always appreciated on the couch. Glory Jones in one of our new videos on Gen Z on Tulsi Gabbard. She did an awesome job. She rocked it.
The one that I made the signing in?
Glory, yes. The one, and Tina was in that video, so go check it out. Our friend Kim Iverson was also in that video. Glory Jones, believe women as long as it's not a woman of color against the establishment.
No, and she's not wrong on this.
The Burn Man killed it, by the way. Screw Warren and send Neera to Iraq.
Yeah.
Love you, Glory Jones. Get her ass there.
Send Neera to Iraq.
I don't know why you're
Neera
saying that
Tanden?
about me. Neera Tanden.
Yeah, Neera Tanden has me blocked on Twitter. I really sucks.
I really am trying to get her to block me. I'm trying to accomplish that feat.
It's actually not that hard, Fee. What are you slacking off?
Tweeting at her.
I don't know if you have time for this story or no.
Probably not, because we're going to get out of here right now. Right. Let's just wrap it up over here.
Okay.
All right, last winners and losers, Tina.
Ask me about the Neera story another time then.
I gotcha.
The big loser, Warren, she just she killed her campaign not only with this phony sexist crap.
Yeah. She said mamas and papas, though.
She went full wine mom. She's starting to sound like a Hillary Clinton. It's just awful. And her saying that she would support Trump's trade bill was devastatingly stupid. Yeah. That's the loser. The winner, again, is Bernie Sanders. I think, once again, he carried the debate. His answers were very Bernie-esque. They were very authentic. They were very spot on, and he didn't fall victim. Every time they try to lead him into a trap, whether it's another candidate or it's the moderators, generally the moderators, he doesn't take the bait. He just stays calm and he gives a solid answer, and there's no gotcha there. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say Bernie Sanders once again killed this debate.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Bernie Sanders is a clear winner because he's genuine, because he's been consistent in every debate, and he's only improved. I do feel like his ending was a little bit weaker, but I think he's just fed up with this and done. I think he's just done. I think he's just, especially with what's been going on these last few days with Warren, and you could tell he's affected by it. But you know what? He just keeps answering the questions and keeps trudging. I mean, I can't stand Buttigieg. I can't stand Amy Klobuchar, but Elizabeth Warren, hands down, and ended her campaign the moment she tripled down on her lies and continued to propagate this false sexist attack against Bernie Sanders. So
yeah, I think that Bernie did a great job tonight, obviously, and held serve. Once again, it's just about holding serve for Bernie Sanders because he is the true front rider. I believe that 100%. Front rider. I think he said a word tonight. He had a Bernie word. But I love the way when Bernie's talking right now, he's getting way more Christopher Walken than ever before. Like the last word of the sentence is really just smooth and easy. Let me tell you something. I had a knish.
More cowbell.
And that knish, it was hot, and I used Gulden's mustard.
More cowbell.
And I want to make sure everybody has more knish.
More cowbell.
And more canal.
Christopher Walken. Come on. More cowbell?
More cowbell. That's what I'm saying.
More cowbell.
Loser, obviously, tonight.
Now I know I'm much older than Fee with that.
Yes, you should. More cowbell. Loser tonight.
He knows what I'm talking about.
I do. Loser tonight was definitely...
Johnny doesn't know either.
It was Elizabeth Warren, but Joe Biden once again put his foot in his mouth. He saber-rattled about Iran. I called him Special Forces Joe. He doesn't want to remove troops. He wants to keep the endless war going over and over again. I mean, the last debate, it was China, and he even doubled down and mentioned China, putting pressure on China.
He did.
So once again, Joe's foreign policy is there. He's still bragging about the ACA, saying Medicare for all is not going to work. So I think he was also a big loser tonight as well. Buttigieg did not make up any ground today. No. The one thing that did surprise me, though, is we did talk about it, did Mayor Buttigieg, Mayor Buttigieg, he did talk about poverty. He did say
but it was pandering. I'm sorry, it was pandering.
I understand that, and I'm just saying it was a surprising moment.
Wine Cave Pete is seriously bringing up the poor people's campaign. Are you
kidding
me?
He's pandering.
We talked about it. Reverend Barber he met him at that thing, and
good for Reverend Barber. He's a great man, and he's not going to turn down anybody that's going to listen. Nor should he. Reverend Barber should talk to anybody that will talk to him. But don't tell me Pete's not doing this.
He's pandering.
Yeah,
we had the pandering sign over his head.
We did.
And
well deserved.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. We want to thank you so much for following us. Johnny Sue, anything to get us out with? Are we good?
Yeah, really quick. I got the candidate speaking time here.
Okay.
Here it is.
Boom. Warren is first.
No.
She had the most speaking time with basically 19 minutes.
Wait.
Sanders had 17.
There it goes.
Steyer was last. Biden was second to last, but Biden should be last.
He did have a.
He had corn pop moment.
He did. What was that? Is it corn pop? It was an Ace Ventura movie.
The green highways,
raise the roads.
Raise the roads.
He goes, I got 25% of this and that, and I got the other 25%.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're leaving out 50%, Joe.
I know. I
Halfway Joe.
I can't.
Special Forces Joe. Oh, man, I need a donkey sound.
Wait, Special Forces Joe.
Special Forces
I
Joe.
can't believe he said that.
I remove all my troops except my Special Forces. Yeah, we have a lot of Special Forces, Joe.
I know. It's like
they're special. That's a Special Forces unit. How do you have who is the most Googled minutes, John? I want to see if Tulsi even got in there.
Googled? Oh.
Most Googled moments or times.
Candidate.
How did it feel? Did anybody miss Andrew Yang?
A little bit. I think he adds a little bit. I think he adds a little bit like math, like regarding his economic policies. At least he makes the conversation interesting. He'll go after the establishment a little bit, but I
would rather listen to Andrew Yang than Klobuchar.
Oh, sure.
And I would definitely rather listen to Tulsi than Klobuchar.
I wanted Tulsi there to knock out Pete or Warren because I feel like she would have gone after
I need Tulsi to do her thing on Warren at this point.
Do you know what Politico put up, by the way?
Please get on the next debate. Oh, we don't have one.
Hot moment. Elizabeth Warren said that she's the only candidate to win in the last decade. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
How about the mathematics? Yeah. How stupid was that?
They were arguing the 30-year thing. Whatever.
Oh,
they were arguing. Bernie was like, no.
Bernie was like
I did too. And she's like, no, but I was. She was just like going after him.
I can't stand
Johnny,
her.
who's on that?
Not Tulsi Gabbard.
No.
But who is it?
Just the 6?
Who was first?
Everybody except for Tulsi.
It's sort of like, yeah.
Okay.
Looks like everybody's pretty much consistent on that.
They still go with that. Well, somebody said at least they put her at the very end at 2% or something.
Seriously.
Well, anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't got a chance, please go on over to our GoFundMe. We want to go out to Iowa to cover the caucuses. Today we had on Shahid Buttar. We had on Andrew Wenis. We want to cover these primaries, talk to these candidates.
Yep.
When we're in Iowa, we're going to also talk to whoever's running out there as well and cover this primary and see what's going on. But it's very important you guys help us out, get us out there.
Please.
Go to our GoFundMe. We really need the help. We've had a good start out of the gate, but we need a little bit more.
We want to hear Joe Biden say corn pop, so we really want to go.
And I used to get, my legs were white. And I used to sit on my legs and bounce.
When I was 29 years old.
And by the way, I love taking out the trash.
Yeah, 1986. So apparently Biden's been working on climate change issues since 1986. I can't believe
I'm the guy.
That's what he said, right?
I'm the guy. Obama, he counted on me to get these guys home. So even though I voted for it and yelled for it and stood behind Bush and all the other warmongers, it was my job to get them home. And I'm the guy who did that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that he claims that. And how many times has he tried to cut Social Security? 3?
About 25% of the time. The other 25% of the time, he didn't do anything.
I'd rather have Joe on SNL than anything else. To be
he had an Ace Ventura moment tonight. He was like,
I don't buy those.
It's all bullshit.
Bernie's the front runner. We all know this. Come on.
We know this. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Let's get out of here, John. We don't even need to worry about it. The hell with it.
We'll find it.
We're gonna let's play our GoFundMe video one last time, guys. If you can help out, we love you. We read the names out today. We'll continue to read the names out. Give you producers credit. It means a lot. It means a lot to independent media, guys. Get us boots on the ground. You saw what these assholes are about on CNN.
Sign up to Rockfin.
Please
help us out.
Do what you can do. We love you. For Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella,
Tina,
and Johnny on the ones and twos. Convo.
Pussy hats out.
We want to cover key primaries in as many states as possible. But in order to do this, travel, take off days of work, go to events, and buy new equipment to get us top-notch work, we've decided to start a GoFundMe.
Our goal is to raise at least $10K for the first half of the primary season through March. Afterwards, we will evaluate what needs to be done for the last half of the primary and possibly into the election. This will include airfare, travel, equipment, accommodations, and other traveling expenses.
We live in Los Angeles and the rent is too damn high, but we want to be able to cover as much as possible. Anything happens during the voting time, we will be there to break the news and bring you live updates. We don't just sit on the couch, we follow the action.
And as we've said, this election is so important, if not the most important election of our time, and we can't afford to miss it or not be there in case any shenanigans go down.
So fans, we humbly ask for your help in any way support you can give it. Donate, help us cover these events, and talk to the people and politicians. You already know that we ask the right questions. For those who donate, we'll put your name down in the credits and show a big thank you to you. We'll post the link down below.
Thanks again for your support. It truly means the world to us.
And it is always appreciated on the couch. And please, like, share, and subscribe. From Pasta
and Fee
and Johnny Sue on those 1s and 2s.
Convo out.
Help us out.
Decreases in voter turnout have been found in states that require photo IDs to vote.
With some people still in line to cast their ballots.
Many Brooklyn residents who thought they were registered showed up to vote, only to find their names were not on the list.
We need to count all provisional ballots. It says shut the f***ing election down. We deny people the right to vote.
Next speaker.